Good to see you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Mojave and Spaceport for being a sponsor for our Grit and STEAM Challenge. It was our first year where we offered scholarships to all high school seniors who wanted to participate. We had had the 4.0 banquet for 14 years and decided we should open it up to all grade point averages. And Jimmy was there representing the Mojave Air and Spaceport. And wasn't it neat to see those students?
It was nice. I
Yeah.
think you guys, it was a good decision to change it. It just seems like it's more inclusive of
That's what we thought.
our area. I mean,
Yeah.
instead of exclusive, it's inclusive.
That's exactly was our feeling. And the thing of it is, we know so many, well, our speaker at Memorial Day says, I was a high school dropout, but he served in Vietnam, he served his country. You can still be a lower grade point average, graduate high school, and be a great success. I don't think Bert Rattan was a 4.0, but anyway, moving right along. Our speaker was Zach Reeder, and he was so great for those kids because he says, I struggled in math. And he says, I wrote the times tables on the bottom of my tennis shoes. 9s were a problem for him, 7s were a problem for me, but I just thought that was neat that he told those kids, I struggled, but I had special teachers that saw something in me and they helped me. He had a 4th grade teacher that knew he was an airplane nut, and she designed a whole class on aviation, and it just sparked him. And he says, I can't believe it. I started out in Texas, and he says, and now I'm going to fly the biggest airplane in the world. I mean, he works for Stratolaunch. So he really inspired these kids. And one of the recipients, Cal City High student, Matthew Cubero, Zach was his mentor. The kids were asked to interview someone in the field that they would like to go into. And he just happened, luck of the draw, got Zach Reeder, and Zach says, what are you doing this Saturday? And he says, nothing. He says, good, you're coming with me to Flaybob and you're going to work on a DC-3. The kid just went nuts. He'd never been around airplanes before, and he got so enthused. And he's now signed up at AV College to take some composite courses and some other aviation courses. Steve Losey at Spaceship Company is going to see about getting him on as an intern. So, and that was another message in Zach's talk. If you show enthusiasm, it's contagious. And the people can see it, and they'll want to help you. And that proved it. So it was a great time. And we had about 12 to 13 students there that night. And their parents were there, and they just seeing the light in their eyes, they were really proud of their students for taking that step and showing a little grit and perseverance. And that's what we want to do. But I brought this for Karina. Our main slogan is, yes, you can. So I wanted to give you this, and so that you would have a copy of our first program. Also, Plane Crazy Saturday is coming up June 17th, and it's really neat. We've got Red Bull Air Race Technical Director Jim Reed. He likes to be called Jimbo. He actually works at the Spaceship Company too, but his second job is a technical director for the Red Bull Air Race. And he's going to tell us about developing and reinforcing the regulations of the air race. And he's a wild man. I mean, he's got a big bushy red beard, but he is such a cool guy. I think we're going to really pack him in for this. I'm hoping they can bring an extra 300 out on the ramp. And June 17th, I just realized, is also Bert Rattan's birthday and Chris Rattan's. But again, I digress. But anyway, I hope you all can come out for Plane Crazy. it'll be a hot one, I'm sure. Thanks.
Thank you,
Quick
Kathy.
comment, Kathy, on your grit and steam, and just a word of thanks for all you do for the area, for the airport, and the community. I actually ran into one of the graduating high school seniors, Christian Seymour, the other day.
Oh.
And he mentioned attending, and he was grateful that he was able to attend and participate, and it's really a great opportunity that you provide to these kids.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And the
Gina.
museum too.
Are there any other community announcements?
Yes.
sir.
Thank you. So my name is Sean Warner. I'm the manager of the new fitness facility that we just opened up actually on campus right here. It's just down the road on Pool Street right past the Incotech building. And so you may have heard of the fitness facility that was there beforehand. The location's been there, but it was managed by a different company for the past year. And so now I work for a company called Elevation Corporate Health, and we go to a lot of different locations throughout the nation. We started on the East Coast and we expanded out west. And so now we're here managing the facility. So it's owned by the Air and Spaceport, but we're the ones in their day-to-day, helping people sign up and things like that. And so I really wanted to come here and just get the word out in general, but also mention that tomorrow specifically, we're going to be having a grand opening celebration. So we've been there since April, and now that we've kind of tied up the loose ends and gotten all the missing equipment and gotten the ball rolling a little bit, we're going to be having our big celebration tomorrow from 4 to 7 p.m. And so the good news about that is not only are we going to be there and we're going to have a lot of fun things going on, but you'll also get to meet our company's vice president, one of our regional directors. They're actually on their way to the center right now, along with one of our owners who's coming out from Baltimore. So basically you get to meet the face behind the organization, and just to show everybody here in the community that we're actually dedicated and serious about making sure that this comes to fruition for everybody here and everybody that's using it. And so I have a lot of flyers here that I'd like to give out, and then just briefly, I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time, but some of the things we have going on tomorrow, we're going to be doing demonstrations of all the different classes that we offer that are included in the membership, and so you'll be able to get a taste of what those are like. And then we'll also have a few different contests going on. We have the event center that we use when it's not being reserved for another reason, and so we have basketball hoops set up there. We're going to have a basketball contest. We're going to be doing push-up contests and fun things like that. We'll also have some ongoing stations for different assessments like balance and flexibility, just for fun, no competition on those. And then there are also going to be a couple of businesses coming out, so like Total Nutrition and Jamba Juice from Lancaster are coming out to offer some samples and some different drinks for people. Starbucks has also donated coffee for us. Stokins, for example, donated a couple of coupons for like a big grand prize raffle that we're doing. So at the end, we're going to raffle off a big grand prize. And in that, like, you'll get the Stokins coupons, you'll get free personal training, you'll get massage vouchers and a bunch of other things we have all rolled into this one big thing. And you'll get tickets as you do a class demo, as you enter a contest, and as you go throughout the day and just participate in activities, you'll get more and more tickets towards this raffle. So that way everybody has a fair chance to win. And again, all the information will be on here. We also have a Facebook page open now, which is just facebook.com/Mojave Fitness Center. And so you can go there, find us real quick. All of our information is up there as well. For the classes, the class schedule, and everything else that you would need. I also have my card here, which has our website on it. So you can look everything up on the website. You'll have our phone number, my email, the fitness center's email, so you can get in touch with us. Any questions you have. We'll be there up until 7 p.m. today. And so, at any time today or tomorrow morning when we get in, we'll be able to address any questions before the event, but then also you can just come there in person and ask us. Whether or not you're a member, just show up, have a good time. You can sign up. If you sign up tomorrow, just real quick, you'll get the first month for free. So June will be for free if you sign up tomorrow. So a good discount there. And essentially we're just trying to get the word out and get as many people interested and to come over and have a good time as much as we can.
Sean, at 5 o'clock, the chamber will have a ribbon cutting.
Correct,
and
yes.
we found some ribbon and a huge pair of scissors.
Yeah.
We're all set to go.
So we're going to be doing that as well in between the whole schedule. We have the whole schedule printed out. So every 20 minutes there's something going on, whether it's a class demo or the basketball contest or the ribbon cutting. So you won't have to worry about kind of being bombarded by all these things going on at once. It's kind of just going to flow. Every 20 minutes something new is going to start. So it'll be very easy to just follow through. And yes, we will have the ribbon cutting. I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention that.
No problem.
But the flyer has that, the website has that, all that information is out there. And then so I have to get going, unfortunately. I can't stay till the end, but I do have the flyers I can give out now or just leave for you to take on your way out, and then my business card as well. So for anybody who's interested, more information there.
I'll take this.
since you're right here.
You can leave, I'll bring the extras
I-
back to you.
I was in there yesterday and it was just packed with people.
Yeah. So if you go usually between 4 and 5:30, when everybody's getting off work, that's when it'll be most busiest, basically. And I've counted up to 35 people in the fitness center, plus whatever class is going on, which will have
Right.
6 to 10 people. Usually never busier than that. So a lot of people go on their lunch break and there'll be 10, maybe 15 people. It's usually a very nice, calm atmosphere. A lot of people have so far said a lot of good things about us and how much they liked it. And for instance, there's a few people who live and work out in Lancaster but purposely drive out here just to use our gym. And Lancaster has a ton of options for fitness facilities, but they like us and they go out of their way just to come to see us because they like that atmosphere. So once again, we're here for you guys, everybody as members, and we just want everybody to know that and to come on and have a good time and get healthy.
What's your web address?
The web is www.mojavefitness.com. So the cards will have 2 websites on them. The bottom one is our company's website, the national company, Elevation Corporate Health. The one underneath my information is going to be our location's address. So you can go on there and that'll give you more specific information for the classes and things like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other community announcements? With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Second?
Motion by Director Ballantyne, second by Director Parker. Any discussion? Any public?
Discussed the last couple of meetings. This is regarding the 2 static display aircraft we have on our front entrance. There's a Condor 990 and an F4. Previous meeting, we discussed some paint schemes as options for that aircraft. After that meeting, I actually got a call from one of the folks over at NASA Armstrong, and he just wanted to weigh in as far as what NASA's plans for that aircraft. He wanted to make sure we were aware of the history of that aircraft and send me some information. So I'm just going to read to you real briefly what he sent to kind of inspire a little bit of the discussion for the board to consider. So this is basically what he said. The CV990 had an interesting and historic career flying multiple tests in support of the Space Shuttle program. It first demonstrated the feasibility of shuttle landing profiles to the Edwards runway in 1971, and in the 1990s was heavily modified to perform significant landing gear tests to increase the shuttle's landing envelope, contributing to the program's space station construction missions. Its markings were from an award-winning agency-wide corporate identity, comprehensive graphics initiative designed and administered from Washington, D.C. by Robert Schulman. And then he goes on to say, if MASP is interested in representing the aircraft's research heritage, NASA Armstrong would be happy to provide graphic design support and reference materials to allow you to restore its NASA research testbed markings and incorporate Mojave Spaceport visual identity elements to reflect its current ownership as it welcomes people to your facility. So those were the comments he had sent back to me. The images that are attached here to the staff memo, the first one with the black and orange represents what the board had discussed previous meeting. And the one behind it is the image that Cam had sent me with the original markings. So what they would do, if the board is open to considering the original markings, is actually do a mock-up with this paint scheme, including our logo, which their suggestion is putting the logo, wrapping the logo around the nose of the aircraft, and then keeping all the other original markings, including the NASA on the tail. So that's what they're proposing.
Are they gonna provide some paint?
They will not. No, the only thing that they would provide is the graphic design itself for what the image would look, or what the airplane would look like with our logo on it. That's good.
Sounds good. I'll vote. Do we need a motion on that?
If the board wants to consider doing the original NASA paint scheme as opposed to the paint scheme that was voted on last time, then we would, what I would request is a vote on that change. And then what we'll do after this meeting is go back and get bids. So we've got 3 vendors that are ready to submit a bid on doing the painting, but we just need to provide them with some details on what the paint scheme looks like.
I move that we adopt the NASA proposal.
I like that, but I don't, and maybe it's because I haven't seen it, I don't like our URL on the nose. I think it would be too hard to read. I would like our URL just like it is across the top, and possibly with that, have a plaque or something that tells a little bit about the history, but then, the history linked in our website, so that the person can
Right.
bring it up. I just think that's a great connection point. You're driving by, you may not even stop, MojaveAirport.com, you might bring it up and take a look. I'm okay, I like the colors, that black and orange just kind of,
Well,
It is kind
it's
of,
kind of.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. Well, you could also put our logo here on the nose, right?
I think we'd have to see it first.
Yeah.
Well, the mock-up's gonna, the mock-up exclusive of the URL is gonna look like that.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
If we want to put the logo or the URL on it.
I don't think you can put it on the nose and make it usable. It
I
just-
don't think you can, I don't
If it was
can't
on the
either.
cockpit or something.
No, but the URL should be up above the windows, but there's no reason why we can't have our logo down there on the nose. That would show up.
Well, how about our logo right after our URL? Or before, or
I like
both
that
sides of
idea,
it, or-
yeah.
It's really up to the board. It is on our airplane, free and clear. They just wanted to make sure we were aware of the historical
I
purpose.
think we need to preserve that, and that's a nice, having NASA on that here
Right.
is a nice connection to our neighbors.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I really think it's up to the board. If the board wants to have the URL, the logo.
My proposal would be to bring it back at the next board meeting with some mock-ups for approval and get a public comment,
Okay.
and then we could approve or disapprove at the next meeting.
Yeah, I withdraw my motion. I think that's a good
Okay.
idea.
Yeah, he just didn't have time to get it to me for this meeting.
Yeah,
So
that would be
they're
my-
working on the mock-ups.
I think that's the will of the board. Is there any public comment on it? Yes, ma'am.
I like the idea of preserving the history because that connection with the space shuttle, I think, really is important. And I remember the day that airplane flew in with an F-18 chase. It was pretty impressive, particularly when you had Gordon Fullerton at the controls.
It'd be fantastic to have NASA on that,
Landing
and
gear.
Mojave and
Space
Spaceport.
shuttle.
It's
I
fun.
like their
in that
idea of having it
cockpit, too.
above the
They landed
windows,
on one wing.
Okay.
but preserve the NASA on the tail, take our chevron off the tail and put it next to our logo on the side.
Are they willing to get us one of the shuttles to put next to it?
That would be good.
How about that
That ship had sailed.
fifth landing gear, or whatever, third landing gear we can hang back under it?
Yeah.
We had a plain crazy speaker on this whole airplane
Yeah.
one time. Yeah, that was
And
really.
I've already talked to Cam about the plaque, so he's also working on
Yeah,
some
that's
ways
a
for the
good
plaque.
idea.
Okay, well, then the instruction to the staff is to bring this back as to what it would look like in a completed status.
Okay.
And
That's
we'll
okay, I'm
take
thinking.
public
I think that's
comment,
a good
vote on
idea.
it.
Preserving this is important.
Okay.
We'll bring it back as an action item so we
Yeah.
can get it through and get it going.
I will.
Sounds good. Next,
Okay.
4B.
Excellent. So the next item is the 2017-18 budget. No changes from the last time we met, other than the fact that the appropriations limit is calculated and the resolution actually has to be adopted. But there are no changes to the budget itself. There should be an updated budget in your packet, because there was an error with one of the way the formula worked out. So hopefully you have that in your packet.
All right.
I don't know.
Are there any-
if-
Are there any questions from the board? Is there any public comment? Is there a motion then?
Motion on the budget?
I have a motion on the budget to approve, I assume,
Yes.
by Mr. Deaver,
Second.
second by Mr. Allred. Any further discussion? All right, let's have a vote then. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously and the budget is adopted.
Yay.
Carrie will give the report on the financial reports. I just wanted to mention that there is a new report included at the very end of your financial report packet, which was the fitness center update.
Yes,
I saw that.
So we'll continue to include that each month.
thank you.
For the bank balance ending April 30th, we did have an increase of $438,000. That was primarily due to the tax proceeds that we received in April, and then as well as the additional fuel sales that we had received. We do have continuous quality, it continues to be on over 90 days, and we're working on doing the paperwork and sending that account to collections. And we'll notify the board once we send it to collections and remove it.
Are there any questions from the board? Staff? So, what I would like to see in the future, now that we have this little format, which is really more for the board, which I think is more easily understood, is this 6-page, what would you call this, Mike? What's that?
Home.
Yeah.
Fire starter.
I guess what I would like to see is, we now have a budget, I'd like to see actual at the end, total all departments and a comparative, so that we can see at a glance, or a given month, where we are relative to the budget, on a one-sheet thing, and that keeps it simple.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with all this, but it probably means more to you guys than it would to the board members. Yeah. Anyway, that's just my comment. I don't know how the board members feel on that. Any other comments on that?
Simple is better.
Oh, simple is always better.
Less paper is better.
Yeah. Unless you're Congress, more complex is better, I guess. All right. CEO report then.
All right, so I won't go through any individual items except for the discussion items, which I intend to discuss with the board. But I also want to make sure, under the updates on the second page of the CEO report, I'm planning to go to Sacramento June 21st for a hearing with the Senate Governance and Finance Committee. I'll be testifying about our bill AB 171, which is the bill that Assembly has put forth to increase our borrowing limit to $10 million. I've been having daily conversations with staff on this legislation and intend to actually attend the hearing. I wanted to request if any of the directors wanted to attend this hearing as well.
It's my intention to try to attend this.
Okay.
Do I need to get some sort of board approval for that?
Yep.
Open meeting,
A motion to approve,
possibly.
Second.
I can put it on the agenda for next meeting.
We have a meeting before then. Yeah, we'll put that on the
Okay.
agenda. Thank you very much.
Okay.
thank you, Dean.
And,
Okay, the other items that are up for discussion, under the first page. So we've got two contracts that are up for renewal. One is our air traffic control contract. So this is currently outsourced to a company called DSI through Exodine. They've had this contract for 5 years. It actually expires at the end of this month, and then it'll revert to a month-to-month. We've asked for a couple of bids on this contract. This is just on the report under for discussion at this point. And what we intend to do is bring it up for a vote next meeting. So there's a little bit of a summary here attached to your CEO report that details out some of the specifics of DSI and another bid that we received from Clancy JG. They're a local firm that provide a lot of services in the area, particularly air traffic control. John actually, as the Director of Operations, runs the tower, security department, and fire department, and he put this memo together once he got these bids back, and he's recommending that we engage Clancy JG for our air traffic control tower. Their intention would be to retain much of the staff that's currently working in the tower. I like this as an option because they're local and they have a pretty broad reach. Some of the folks that have joined them recently, Mark Heinrich, who's the former air traffic control manager for the FAA at Edwards, who recently retired from the FAA, is now on board with them. Ron Guiding, who was the previous air traffic control manager out there, is also on board with them. They have a pretty broad reach of controllers out here, and as we look to the future and we want to really try to get more experienced folks that are experienced in working in this airspace in particular, I think they'd add a lot of value out here. When we start talking about straddle launch flying, Virgin Galactic doing more operations, I think it's really important to have people who are very experienced in this airspace in particular. So I like the fact that Clancy would have a pretty broad reach of controllers out here.
Didn't they do some lobbying for us? In DC?
So they worked a couple of issues for us in the past. One of them that's kind of notable is all of the red lights that are on these territory wind towers. So they worked with us in the county to decrease the number of lights that were on the wind towers.
And the FAA.
Right, exactly. So John Clancy himself was a former SES employee of the FAA. He's very experienced in air traffic. So a lot of the folks that have now joined his team are as well, have that level of experience.
Good.
And they're based in California?
They're in Lancaster.
Wow.
Do they have any other towers?
They do, John, do you remember?
I'm sorry, what was the
Do they
question?
have any other control towers in the area?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'll have to look at it and get back
They
to
get
you.
that back.
No, I was just curious, no big deal.
Any other questions on this, Green? All right, anything else?
So we'll plan to submit this for action next meeting. If the board has any specific questions in the meantime, feel free to send them our way, and we'll get them addressed next meeting. The next item then is our security contract. So currently Allied Universal has our security contract. They're essentially two companies that merged. It used to be Allied Barton, and Allied merged with a company called Universal. Now it's Allied Universal. So they have the contract. We've had a number of security guards come and go recently through their transition. We did ask for a couple of additional bids on our security contract. Generally speaking, we've had good luck working with Allied and appreciate the relationship we've had with them. We actually hired Chris from them, so definitely appreciate that. We've had a little bit of issue with them recently with turnover, so they've had a lot of security guards come and go. I'm not sure if it's more of a corporate issue, if it's the location, I don't know exactly what the reason is. So we did request additional bids on our security contract as well. So we have one from Allied Universal, one from Clancy JG also, and then one from Securitas. We would intend to get some additional information from Clancy JG. Their price came back much higher than the other two, but we do have an interest in exploring other options to see what we can do to reduce the turnover. It's just really burdensome to continue training them. And these are also the folks, by the way, that operate the Unicom Tower after hours. So we want to make sure that we have some level of continuity if we can. One kind of tidbit about Securitas is they do a lot of other work up here, so they work for a lot of our existing tenants as well. So I feel like they have a pretty broad reach in the area.
Yes, there's always a pay problem in that industry. Now, are these people required to have law enforcement experience or not?
No, do you want to speak to that, Chris?
No, currently they're not required to have experience.
Typically, they just have a guard card. If they're
Correct.
armed, they have a gun card as well.
Correct.
Well, they're not armed, ours are not. Do you do training?
I'm sorry?
Do you do any training?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Well, we haven't had any problems. I think you guys do a great job.
What? I think the security at the airport deserves a much deeper discussion for a variety of issues. And I guess the first question I have is two unarmed guards on a given shift enough? Does it have the reach and does it have the depth and breadth to take care of an event that could occur? And have we gone through some exercise to determine what types of events could occur and how would we address them if they did? And could our current security force handle it?
So,
And the reason I bring this up is, you know, the Mojave, we're not the little Mojave airport that existed in 1978 or 9. We have very high-profile things that are going on here. We have very high-profile aircraft that are parked out there. There's an expectation from our tenants that there is some level of security here. We're an open facility. Anybody can drive in. And I just wanted, I as a board member, just want to know that we've addressed all the potentialities that could exist and that we have some reasonable faith that anything could be addressed. So I think my opinion is it deserves a much deeper discussion than a new contract.
I think so. You honestly shouldn't be discussing that.
Well, and that's the other part of it.
But that being said, I think it's our job to do due diligence to at least take a look at it, and he's exactly right, there's a lot of high profile stuff, people and projects going on out here. We are a public agency, so there's a delicate mesh between the two that we have to be careful of. So far, we've done a great job, but I think it deserves a review to see if there's areas we can improve in.
So there's a couple of quick things I'll mention. One is we've invested a lot in our camera system.
Yeah, we just-
So our camera provides a lot of eyes around the airport. And that's been a really, really valuable tool when we needed to identify something quickly, or we needed to get eyes on something very quickly. So that security can go out and address it, but somebody can stay in-house and monitor the cameras. So the camera's been a big investment recently. The other thing that we've done is executed a contract with the Kern County Sheriff's Office. So if we have these events we know about in advance, we can get some armed deputies here on site if necessary. One of the things that Jason's working on is a mass notification system, so that if there's an emergency or anything like that, we can send out a notice to our tenants right away. And then John and Chris are both working up some training for the staff that we can pass along to the tenants as well. So these are a lot of things that are being worked behind the scenes. I think regardless of who our contract is with, these are things that we're already addressing now to make sure that we're providing adequate security for our customers, because it's absolutely critical that we do this.
I just wanted to mention that each of the companies or firms that are located here on the airport do have their own security as well. And they certainly have plans, and I don't know if you might want to coordinate with them. I'm sure
Well,
they'll
exactly,
have-
and what I don't know as a board member is I don't know what the level of coordination is, what the level of correlation is. And I think as board members, we have to know that. I don't know how we do that without doing it in public. I think that is potential.
Counselor, you got an answer to that question? Like a closed session briefing?
Yeah, the Brown Act allows closed session to discuss security and threat-related issues.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're
I would like to have a closed session meeting. I'd like to be updated on things that at least I brought up and addressed. And I encourage the board members to come to that meeting with questions. And
Yeah, Gretchen, can you provide our own security team instead of contracting out?
absolutely. We budgeted for it, but I always.
We did that in the past, and I think there was some,
You take on a lot of liability when you do that.
yeah,
some of the things.
that's
too.
true, but we have the liability anyways.
Yeah, we got liability regardless of who's doing.
We have two full-time security, so Chris is security chief, and then we have Sarah Teeter who works the night shift essentially. So those are
Yeah, I think we ought to have that.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Kind of a corollary, what's the status of the Unicom?
So we've gone back to calling it Unicom. We've just kind of limited how much information we're.
Yeah, I listened to it.
And we're trying to make it very clear to pilots that it's advisory only, to get the weather reports and things like that from AWAS, and to make sure they're tuning into the CTAF so they understand what other traffic is in the area. Is the concern that I had after listening to some of the radio dialogue a couple times was pilots feeling like somebody's looking out for them because they hear a voice on the other end of the radio and they feel like somebody's watching them, and so they're asking Unicom to provide their position to other pilots, and that's just not something they can do because they're not watching them. The other item for discussion, and this really is for discussion, and what's attached here, the last page of the CEO report is simply a draft of what we're proposing as a new insurance tier. So currently, we have a blanket policy for all of our customers at the airport, regardless of what kind of contract you're signing, the length of the contract, what your activity is, anything. It's a $1 million general liability requirement. So they have to provide that insurance with us. So that's, somebody who's coming to work here for a week in one of the offices, or, Scale Composites that's doing a lot of activity at the airport. That requirement's the same for everybody. So we'd like to propose a change to make it fit really with more of what our operations are here at the airport. I've talked to a couple of the customers already, not everybody, but I just kind of polled them, because what I don't want to do is create an additional burden for them to have to go out and get a new policy, if they already have something existing where they can add us on as additional insured. So this seems to be the case, at least with the large employers. And what this would also provide is that folks that are just coming here temporarily wouldn't necessarily have to have an insurance policy in order to set up an office at the airport on a temporary basis. One of the reasons this is coming into play is some of our customers are outsourcing a lot more, so they have contractors come on site to work with them, even though they don't have space in their facility, so they're using some of our space under an access license, like in Building 1, for instance, but they're just setting up in there for a week. So it's an additional burden for us to have to require the insurance requirements, and we want to be able to be a little bit more accommodating to what our customers need. So this really is presented for discussion. I just wanted to get a sense of what how the board feels about doing something like this. And then there's a couple other questions that I have for Duncan before we actually execute on it, but this is strictly meant to get others' feedback.
Good. I guess my first question is, how would this compare to what other facilities are requiring?
So that's difficult to assess because there's not a lot of other facilities that do everything that we do here, that have both an industrial part and the aviation piece and space operations, business park. So it's really difficult to find other public entities that do all the same things that we do.
I have a hard time with under $1 million, $2 million aggregate. I mean, that's pretty standard in any industry, any business, construction or otherwise. It's fairly cheap to get and simple to get. But to allow no insurance, I mean, even if you're any kind of company, you're gonna have $1 million, $2 million aggregate.
Some of them are
blanket
companies,
policy.
right? Some of them are companies that are either profits or they're individuals that are just contracted to come in and do some work for a short period of time, that kind of thing. And most of these folks, what we would do is just set them up at a building, like in Building 1, so they wouldn't have any access to behind the fence. They'd still have to sign some kind of a waiver of release form if, I don't know, the trip would fall in the facility or something like that. Most of them would have some level of insurance, usually like the auto policy. If you're driving on property, they'd have to have something like that. But this would be a requirement for business insurance.
Yeah, but an auto policy could be, $10,000 or whatever the minimum the state requires. If they're just PLPD. I don't know. I'm up in the air about this because, like I said, pretty much standard is $1 million, $2 million aggregate, and that's pretty simple and cheap to get, no matter who you are. And if they're not insured, they're coming after us.
Okay. I think that's absolutely fine. My bigger concern, honestly, was not having enough coverage for some of the other activities out here. So that's really what kind of drove us to take another look at this, to make sure that our property really is covered. We need to look at this out.
Yeah, and who knows on the high side, you're going to get sued for whatever insurance you have. So if you have $50 million, you're going to get sued for $50 million or more. But I think on the low side, I really would like to see $1 million, $2 million aggregate minimum across the board.
So who does that affect on the bottom line, where it's not required? Who does that?
So what we've had recently, so let me give you an example. We've had a couple of consultants that were working on a project for DWP in the area, and they just needed to rent a short-term office space, and they couldn't negotiate with anything in town to do anything on short-term. So they wanted is just to set up in one of our offices in Building 1 for 1 month. So instead of doing a lease agreement with them, we just did an access license, so they can have access to that facility, to that office, and just come in and set up a desk in there to meet with their customers if necessary. So that's the most recent example that comes to mind.
So in that situation, where's our exposure?
It's very minimal. Other than that building, they're not really accessing anything else. They're certainly not accessing anything behind the fence. They're not badged.
Our exposure would be if they had somebody come into their office, trip and fall and break a leg and want to sue us. Because the facility wasn't maintained right or the desk was placed in the wrong spot. building caught on fire, they couldn't get out. I mean, who knows? People sue for everything these
Yeah,
days.
the liability for these individuals and the companies really protects our property against any damage that they might inflict on our property. Or if somebody drove a car through Scales Hangar, something like that, you know, they would have some kind of a policy that would cover any damage to the property in the airport. So if they damaged the facility, building one facility that they had access to, if they broke the door or something like that and then just ran off, then we would at least have the insurance policy. I just think the risk is very minimal.
Would that have been a deal breaker for that particular case?
For that case, I don't think so. It's more for some of the consultants that are coming here to work for our existing companies on site. They're having to find other accommodations for them. Because of our requirements, really. And it just takes too long to process all that. They have to go get an insurance policy, so they'll find another opportunity for them to do work here.
I can get an insurance policy over the phone in 30 minutes.
If this is what the board wants to, I mean, it's really up to the board to set this as the policy. I don't have a real strong preference one way or the other about requiring it for some of the short-term tenants, I suppose, for lack of a better term. It's more the kind of the high end that I definitely want to make sure we get processed.
Yeah, I think I'm on board with you on everything except the loan.
Okay.
I don't know.
So we can have that as a requirement. That's what seems to be.
What have our tenants said about the high end for like space launch?
I've only talked
500
to,
million?
I've only talked to 2 of the companies so far, and both of them are absolutely fine with this as proposed. It wouldn't create an additional burden for them. It would simply require them to list us as additional insured on their existing policy.
Okay.
So that would be a burden to them.
Because it's our high-paying tenants, we don't want to
Right.
upset or cause extra burden too, so.
Well, that's what we do with the museum.
So what direction does the board want to go on this then?
Well, direct staff to keep working on it and bring something back to us so we can vote on it.
My personal consensus is the 1 million, 2 million aggregate is the minimum threshold for the airport.
I need to think about that one. I hear what you're saying.
No,
Yeah.
everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Go ahead and bring it back next meeting as an action item in what you think it should be, and then we can debate it and make a change and adopt it with a change if we need to then.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, because I need to give that a lot more thought. I'm thinking
Yeah, I
of
think
some
I
other
do
things
too.
that are happening here.
You know, some places you go to, like say you rent equipment from Caterpillar and you don't have a 1 million, 2 million aggregate policy to cover their equipment that they're renting, they offer a policy that you can buy for $40 or $50 on a per use basis.
Yep.
Maybe that's something we can do is offer, if you want to come in and rent our office for 1 month, you pay an extra $250 and then you're covered under our insurance policy. And that way everybody's covered, we get reimbursed for the costs and everything's safe that way.
That's a good idea.
Was that all?
Is it?
All right, thank you so much. All right, we have no board committees. Are there any director comments? If there are none, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? Yes, sir.
That's me.
I'm gonna limit you to 6 minutes like I did basically. I gave everybody else about 6 minutes. Yeah, so that's what.
Sounds good. I was told 3, so.
Okay, well, I'm feeling generous today because they took 6.
You're lucky.
So.
What a guy, Dave.
I appreciate it. So, directors and staff, thanks for taking a few moments with me today. My name is Herb Graybell. I'm with Kidder Matthews Commercial Real Estate, and I'm representing a group called Pioneer Mojave Partners. And just real quick background on myself. I've been in the business for about 30 years. My expertise is supply chain logistics strategies. I work closely with the port complex in Southern California, and also closely with the railroads and transportation networks. We were hired to market the land that you see here, and I could show you one later if you like, but the property is strategically located at 58 and 14. It's 2 parcels, zone M3 heavy industrial. It's 150 and a 250 acre piece. We've been marketing the property for just about a year now and working closely with the county and also EDC, current EDC. Most recently, we had a proposal that we submitted to a large solar panel manufacturer as an example. That was looking to set up a major manufacturing operation here. Presently, we believe that they're not going to come here at this point, but it's not a matter of if these companies come, it's really a matter of when. Really tied to what's going on with activity in Southern California. The distribution logistics market is still on fire, tied to the port complex, and now we're starting to see more and more manufacturing opportunities, believe it or not, in California. Big part of what's happening in Kern is you're out of the South Coast Air Quality Management District. So, well, speaking with the ownership, and they're located in Texas, really great guys, they've owned this land for many years. We understand encroachment, we understand the fact that the district has an amazing asset out here and really should, at the end of the day, control a lot of the land in the area here. And so what we'd like to offer the board is a potential opportunity to work together. There's many ways of doing that. We could potentially do some type of a free option. We're not looking to sell you anything today, but what we'd love to do is figure out a way to collaborate with the district and figure out if there's ways to bring in compatible businesses. For perfect example, I had a conversation recently with a large aerospace group. They're with big operations not too far from here and some have operations close by. There's going to be expansion. They're going to want to find areas to locate fee simple land, not land lease. A lot of these companies with large capex are going to want to own their assets. So there may be a way to create a win-win here. What I'd like to propose to the board, if interested, and staff, is we could come back with a proposal that would explain more of what we're looking to provide you. But I know Karina and staff is very busy with missions here. We're not looking to take a lot of her time and your energy. We'll do the heavy lifting. I'm doing the heavy lifting. My goal is to come in and share with you what we're doing, get some ideas of what potentially could happen here, and be able to leverage that and create value, hopefully, over time. And at the end of the day, figure out a way for the district to potentially own this land. These 2 sites, they also own this one on the other side of the highway, the 9.5, but these 2 sites, and then this area down here provides access down to the back, I guess the back of the airport. The ladder track. This is just conceptual. We're not planning to build that.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Can you see? Your camera can see it?
So the people that own the property are the ones that are instigating or moving this, they'd like to develop it.
Well, sure, yes.
Yeah, I see.
Develop it in a smart way.